India is compelled to note that the delegate of Pakistan has yet again resorted to unwarranted remarks on the Indian Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Such repeated references neither validate their illegal claims nor justify their state-sponsored cross-border terrorism. Jammu and Kashmir was, is, and will always be an integral part of India. We would advise Pakistan not to try to divert the attention of this forum to drive their parochial and divisive agenda. We gather today at a pivotal moment for UN peacekeeping, an institution that has served as a beacon of hope and stability, and hence it is imperative that we reflect on the lessons of our past and adapt our strategies to meet the challenges of the present and future. At the same time, it's important to underline that any re-evaluation and remodeling of the peacekeeping infrastructure must be rooted in consensus. In this context, I'd like to emphasize on the following key elements. First, UN peacekeepers today have to contend with the presence of non-state actors, armed groups, terrorists, as well as transnational criminal networks. Technological advancements have created new challenges in the form of misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation, and hate speech, new age weapons, including drones, IEDs, etc. These are but a few new realities that peacekeepers are up against. Second, adapting peace operations to new realities cannot happen unless those on the ground, the troop and police contributing countries, are made part of the mandate formulation process at every stage. Third, countering modern challenges to peacekeeping demands that missions are adequately funded and resourced. Resources need to be commensurate with the mandate. The current state of uncertainty over funding and the mandate resource mismatch is neither sustainable nor comforting nor desirable, particularly for countries from the global south who contribute the lion's share of troops. Fourth, rationalization of peacekeeping missions is essential for the efficient allocation of resources. Redundant missions that continue on political life support without operational rationale, only for propaganda purposes, divert resources from urgently required peacekeeping missions and undermine the credibility of the UN. Fifth, with respect to peace building by peace operations, Madam President, national ownership should remain the core principle in all peace-building initiatives and activities. We encourage greater coherence and coordination between resident coordinators and the UN entities to support the national peace-building priorities of host states by peace operations, including during the mission transition. Further, we strongly support the WPS and the YPS agenda and greater engagement of the Peacebuilding Commission with international financial institutions to provide financing for peace-building activities. Sixth, adapting peace operations to new realities also involves enhancing the critical role of women peacekeepers, both qualitatively and quantitatively. I'm pleased to share that in February this year, India organized the first ever conference for women peacekeepers from the Global South, bringing together representatives from 35 troop and police contributing countries to deliberate on this key issue. It is no longer a question of whether women can do peacekeeping. Rather, it is about whether peacekeeping can do without women. Seventh, peacekeeping is not a zero-risk effort. Safety and security of peacekeepers must remain paramount. In an era marked by complex conflicts and asymmetric threats, we must ensure that those who risk their lives for peace are adequately protected and that perpetrators of crimes against peacekeepers are brought to justice. Eighth, troop and police contributing countries need to focus on enhancing the capabilities of their personnel to address emerging challenges in order to operate effectively in hostile environments. India is willing to curate and offer courses that address specific demands of modern peacekeeping at our Center for UN Peacekeeping, which has been training national and international peacekeepers for over 2 decades. Ninth, the use of advanced surveillance, communication, and data analytic tools should be integrated into peacekeeping operations to improve situational awareness and rapid response capabilities. India stands ready to share its expertise as a technology enabler in this regard. 10th, even as we deliberate on adapting peace operations to new realities, it's important to acknowledge that peacekeeping missions cannot exist in perpetuity. Missions need to have viable transition plans and exit strategies that ensure that peace sustains. Lastly, peacekeeping cannot be the sole solution to conflicts. Peace holds when peacekeeping operations are accompanied by political solutions. These can only emerge when there is coherence within the UN Security Council. It is thus imperative to reform the Security Council in both categories to make it more reflective and representative of current geopolitical realities. Madam President, India is compelled to note that the delegate of Pakistan has yet again resorted to unwarranted remarks on the Indian Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Such repeated references neither validate their illegal claims nor justify their state-sponsored cross-border terrorism. Jammu and Kashmir was, is, and will always be an integral part of India. Pakistan continues to illegally occupy the territory of Jammu and Kashmir, which it must vacate. We would advise Pakistan not to try to divert the attention of this forum to drive their parochial and divisive agenda. India will refrain from exercising a more elaborate right of reply. In conclusion, India, a nation deeply committed to the principles of multilateralism and global peace, has been a steadfast partner of the United Nations in its peacekeeping endeavors, with a history of deploying nearly 300,000 troops across more than 50 missions as of date. We pay tribute to more than 4,000 UN peacekeepers, including 182 Indian personnel, who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the service of peace, and towards that, seek the earliest completion of the memorial wall in their honor. And as we look to the future, India reaffirms its unwavering commitment to UN peacekeeping and pledges its continued support to the UN in its pursuit of international peace and security. Our vision for reform highlights the need for a more balanced, inclusive, and effective approach to UN peacekeeping for an era of limited resources, geopolitical volatility, and upheaval.